What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. It's team selection time for game week 9. So we're just going to jump straight into it and look at game week 8. So if you enjoyed that, please do give it a like. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here as well. I know game week 8 was a little while ago, but I'll just quickly run through how we did and then we'll look to what's going on next week, which is a bit of a disaster as it stands right now. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So game week 8 was a pretty good week for me, 74 points in total. That gave me over 100,000 rank increase. So I think I was 308k, and I now gone up to 184k. So I'm pretty happy with that. 505 points overall, and pretty much everyone returned. Not literally everyone, but pretty much everyone. The whole of the back line, love it when that happens, when all the defenders get points, and Martinez, the goalkeeper, as well. Now, Lamptey and Reguilon were clean sheets. Chilwell was a goal. On another day, that's a big score for Chilwell. The goal from Sheffield United, actually, I remember it quite well. It was decent against Chelsea, but they didn't really offer any other threat apart from that. So you could say Sheffield United were maybe a little bit lucky to score in that game, but who cares, right? Chilwell got a goal, happy with that. Captain Kane came in at the death. It was very late on in the game that he got his returns, but happy about that. Son obviously blanked in the same game. Salah got the same points. I think it was another penalty. Grealish played really well. Probably unlucky to only come away with 6 points. I think it was another ball cleared off the line from one of his shots. So at some point he's getting another big score, I would say. Rashford chipping in with an assist for Fernandez's goal. Could have been a goal for Rashford. We know how close that came to him headering it in. Morpay blanked again. I'll talk about him in a little bit. And then Calvert-Lewin came in with the assist against Man United. So I was quite happy with that game, actually, because we won quite well. But Calvert-Lewin still got points, and that's perfect for FPL pretty much, unless I had a Man United defender, which I didn't. So I wasn't too bothered about losing the clean sheet. So yeah, pretty good week, 74 points, but it's international break time. There is a lot to talk about. I've got a few flags. I know people have got more flags than me even as well. And I got 2 free transfers. There's COVID to deal with and all that stuff. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Before we do that, I just wanted to talk about today's sponsor, Surfshark. Please do check them out if you haven't already. There's a link in the description below. But my past self is now going to talk about it a little bit more. So I'm really happy to say that today's video has been sponsored by Surfshark, one of the biggest brand names in the VPN market. Now, VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. It essentially allows you to put your phone, your laptop, your tablet in a different place in the world, right? So unblocking websites and accessing content that you might not usually be able to. So for example, for me, I live in Ireland. Sometimes I want to catch up on the football on Match of the Day through the iPlayer, which you have to be from the UK for, but not with Surfshark, right? That lets me access it as if I was living in the UK. And I don't know about you, but right now in lockdown, there's a lot of Netflix viewing happening in this house. So being able to get things like the American Netflix as well to get extra content is super handy. And one of the cool things about Surfshark is it's the only VPN where you need just one account, but you can access on multiple devices, right? So as many tablets and phones and stuff as you want, you can put this on. It's just a handy app or a handy browser extension that will allow you to do all the things that I've just talked about. And one more thing, I've got a bigger bargain than Patrick Bamford at 6.1 million. If you use the link in the description below and the code FPL, not only will you get 84% off, but also 4 months free as well. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there is absolutely no risk in giving it a go and seeing what you think. So use that link in the description below. Remember to use the code FPL, 84% off and 4 months free. You won't find a bigger bargain than that this season. So this is my team for game week 9 as it stands. So I think this is the second game week in a row, like at least the team selection videos, where I've just gone through the whole squad at once. Not doing goalkeepers, then midfielders, then forwards. Basically, it's just going to depend on the game week. And this is a game week where we need to talk about things as a whole and then probably do some live tinkering. And again, I'm not going to do live tinkering. And when I say live, obviously doing it as I talk through it on the video. I'm not going to do that every single week. But sometimes, especially weeks like this, I think it's relevant because there is so much I could do with this team, especially with 2 free transfers and the amount of flags as well. So I've got 2 yellow flags, Chilwell, Rashford, 1 orange flag with Salah, and I've also got a red flag with Mitchell, who's on my bench. But I've got 2 free transfers. Squad value is looking pretty good, 102.5, and I've got 0.3 in the bank. So first of all, let's talk about the flag. So obviously it's an international break, right? Sometimes there are international break injuries. And it's not to say that the players aren't injured, but I do think how much it's affecting them probably does get overblown a little bit. Now, you can never know that for sure. Yeah, obviously sometimes club loyalties lie higher than England, especially for Nations League, right? Obviously, they're trying to turn Nations League into this thing. It's not just friendlies, but it's not the same as the Euros. It's not the same as the World Cup. So Chilwell goes off during a game. I think he's in the squad for the next game for England anyway, so there's a chance he might play in that. The fact that he's in the squad is quite promising from an FPL point of view, and hopefully when he gets back to Chelsea, they'll assess him and say, yeah, he's fine to play. Chelsea are obviously going to want to play him. They don't want to play Alonso or Emerson. They're just not good enough compared to Chilwell. And similar to Rashford, I think he got injured before the international break in the last game against Everton, and obviously there was some talk about him still going away with England, and it didn't happen. So I'm also quite hopeful that he'll be fine. Salah is the most tricky one, right? Because he's tested positive for COVID twice. I've talked about this on a video already. We're still waiting for another test later on this week. Even if that comes back negative, I don't know if there's enough time to then get back to Liverpool and then still be allowed to play. I'm not 100% sure what the rules around that are. And to be quite honest, we've not had much info at all. Like, I don't think Liverpool have mentioned it once. So it's hard to say what's going on there. Out of all the major flags, like, 'cause people are worried about Robertson and all this, I think most of them are going to be fine and play on or play this weekend. But I do think Salah is probably a different case. I'm almost telling myself now he's out of Game Week 9. I'm kind of planning around that. So to quickly run through the team, right, I've got a lot of players playing against each other this week. So Martinez and Grealish for Villa are obviously playing Brighton. I've got Lamptey and Maupay. Now, anytime I do a team selection video where I've got players playing against each other, I always get, why have you got this player? Why are you not benching them? Why are you not selling them? But ultimately, you just always play the best options in your team, right? And it's better to play Maupay and Lamptey against Martinez and Grealish than to play Reguilon against Man City. In my opinion, obviously Mitchell's red flagged and Basuma is no different to playing Maupay, right, in terms of the team that he plays for. So there's no reason not to play them against each other. You cannot have the perfect team every single week. Lamptey is obviously in a bit of rotation with Dallas, but because I've still got Reguilon against City, I'm just going to play them both this week. And I think it's one of those things, right, sometimes where you have, for Grealish, right, it's a good fixture against Brighton. For Lamptey, it's probably an okay fixture against Villa as well. So you just play them and hope for the best and hope for some attacking returns from all of them. And look, players blank, right? Last week I got 74 points, 100k rank increase, and I still had a few players blank. You don't need every single player to return every single game week. It just doesn't happen, right? So I'm not too bothered the fact that Villa are playing Brighton and vice versa. I think, look, Maupay situation, I've got 2 free transfers. I could deal with him, but he's got Villa, Southampton and Fulham in the next 5. And I feel there's probably more important things that I want to do with my transfers. I just think transferring out a cheap striker is probably not the way forward, especially when one of my transfer moves to do is get rid of Kane for a cheap forward. I don't think I'm going to go down the Vardy route, although I could still do that. And so if I do that, I'm already getting in someone like Watkins or Bamford. I don't feel like I also need to get rid of Maupay the same week. I'm not saying like he's a great choice. Like if I was wildcard, there's no way I'd have him in my team right now. But who's to say he can't do something over the next 4 to 5 game weeks like he did between game week 1 and 4. Brighton is still creating chances. Granted, he is not putting them away at the moment. In the last game, he was drifting more to the left, but Trossard wasn't playing, so I don't want to write him off just yet. Even though everyone else has. Salah, obviously, if he doesn't play, I'm probably just going to play Basuma. So I'm potentially going to have 6 players in the Brighton and Villa game, which is not ideal. And it's one of those weeks where I kind of just want to try and tread water. And if I just get a, even the small red arrow or a tiny green arrow, I'd probably be happy given who my players are playing. But in other positions, it looks okay. Like Dallas against Arsenal, don't get me wrong, this is probably a good game for Arsenal because Leeds are giving away so many chances and conceding so many goals. But at the same time, Arsenal defence looks poor, and Arteta, I think, is just going to overthink this because it's Leeds and he knows what Bielsa is like. And is there a chance of Dallas getting attacking returns, maybe defensive returns? You never know, right? So I'm okay with playing him. Calvert-Lewin's got Fulham, which looks decent as well. And Rashford, if he's fit, has got West Brom at home, which again, I think is a decent fixture. I'm not worried about home and away form for Man United whatsoever. Like if you look at the home games they've played, the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, and then that first game against Crystal Palace, first game of the season, short pre-season for Man United, it just wasn't great at all. So don't get me wrong, having to play Basuma for Salah is not ideal, but if I forget about that, I'm playing the other 4 players anyway. Right? I'm playing Maupay, Grealish, Lamptey, Martinez. So the Salah Basuma thing, I just don't really worry about it. The issue for me is Kane and Son playing against Man City. For me, that's probably a blank. In most cases, it's probably a blank. Can they score? Absolutely. But they were my initial kind of choice to kind of tinker with and transfer out before, obviously, the flags for Rashford and Salah. So they're still in my plans to get rid of. I think Kane for Watkins or Bamford and then Son for Kevin De Bruyne or Sterling, I think is still my plan. I'm still looking at going down the route of potentially going for 2 Man City players or 2 Man City midfielders, and then eventually get Cancelo in for Reguilon. So that's still my long-term plan. I don't think it's changed with these flags. I think if Salah's out for 1 week, it's not ideal, but I'll definitely want him back from game week 10 onwards, so I won't bother using transfers. He's actually dropped from 12.4 to 12.3 million now. So if you got him for 12, you're only going to lose 0.1 million if you sell him and get him back. So I'm not ruling that out completely. But I don't think it's probably what I'll end up doing. So what I'm going to do now is go to the actual FPL page, come off this page, and we'll do some lighting and I'll kind of show you what my thoughts are for this week and beyond. And obviously, if Rashford and Salah are out, what I might do with that money instead. Okay, so hopefully this looks all right. Obviously, this is the transfer page. I'm sure you're familiar with it if you've been playing FPL all season. So I've left it up so you can see how much money I got in the bank, 0.3 and the 2 free transfers. So if Salah and Rashford were both out, I would probably look to bring Fernandes in, and I'd also have 11.3 million spent. So it's not, the annoying thing is it's not quite enough to also get someone like Kevin De Bruyne, because I don't think he's come down enough, right? So if we go to him, I think he's 11.5, so I don't think he's come down to 11.4. So I wouldn't quite have enough money to do that. And obviously I would need a plan to get Salah back anyway. So I could potentially do another move that gets me 0.2 million. So more pay. I could get rid of him for Watkins and just leave Son and Kane for 1 more week. So basically this week I would do more pay to, let's just say it's Watkins, right? Because him and Bamford are a very similar price. So that would allow me to do it. That gives me Fernandes and De Bruyne. And then next week, so I'm still playing 3-4-3 here. So next week I would do the Kane and Son moves. So it would cost me 4 points again next week and this week. This is why I don't necessarily like it. And I'd bring in Bamford. The only problem with this is, if we have a look at the fixtures, excuse the clicking, from next week it'd be Everton away and Chelsea away. So not ideal, although Chelsea are shipping quite a few goals. And then the fixture run's quite good for Bamford. So I could do that, and that would give me 14 million to spend, right? So I could just bring Salah back. But that kind of spoils my plan about getting 2 Man City midfielders, De Bruyne and Sterling, for their great fixtures. Now, maybe having Fernandes is not that much of a problem, right? He actually, I said on the video yesterday that he's getting over 6.6 per match, but it's actually more than that because he's only played 7 matches. So I'd calculated 53 divided by 8, forgetting the Man United have only played 7 games. He's actually over 7 points per match, which is just ridiculous. Like, he's basically been like that since he came to United. So maybe he is just a long-term hold. He's going to play pretty much every match. He's on penalties. Maybe I'm overthinking a bit. Maybe he should be in the team. But I still like the Man City way. So I could do this and bring Salah back, but that's using 2 transfers just to get rid of him and bring him back for 1 week. And I kind of know that things are not looking great for my team this week if I have to play Basuma instead of Salah, but it's just 1 week, right? And as I said, you cannot have the perfect team every single week, or the team that you'd like every single week. So the other option is just to go through. Like, if Rashford's fit, I think this play is still okay. And it's probably still to go for Watkins, maybe Bamford. And then again, obviously I'd have 14 million to spend. I'd keep Salah, keep Rashford, and in this spot I would just get my Man City midfielder in. Now, whether I go for Sterling or De Bruyne, I'm still not sure, because Sterling's flagged as well, but I think he's another one that's definitely going to be fine for the weekend. But we'll have to, I mean, press conferences are huge this week. So this is probably my transfer plan. 2 free transfers. I bring in Watkins and De Bruyne. Hopefully Rashford's fine. The only thing I will say is it does feel a bit weird to have Salah flagged and to not get rid of him, and also to get rid of Kane and Son, who have been obviously in great form for the whole season. So I can see some issues with that. But if Salah's only missing for 1 week, then I'm still sticking with my strategy for game week 10, where I've got the team that I kind of want. So that's probably the 2 moves that I'll make. Another thing that has crossed my mind is getting in Souček for a hit, potentially for Basuma, if Rashford's definitely, if Salah's definitely out. It's Sheffield United away. I don't think I want that £4.9 million player on my bench, but it has crossed my mind as another move I could do. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I'm still doing the Watkins and De Bruyne moves, and then next week it would be Reguilon to Cancelo or Diaz probably. And then I'd still have Rashford for the Southampton West Ham games if I want him. Otherwise, I could upgrade him to Sterling with the 2.8 million that I got left over. So this is probably my plan. I keep more pay for a few more weeks. I'll deal with him later on. Maybe look to get in Bamford as well. I can always downgrade on him. We'll pay 6.5. And Bamford, even if he keeps scoring, In 4 weeks, would he still be 6.5? Maybe, right? And it's obviously cost me a bit of extra money to buy him, but I don't think that's the end of the world if he's still looking like a great option. So that's my options there. I think Salah's out for 1 week. I'm almost certainly keeping him. But if he's out for longer, I will look to get rid. And if he is out for longer, I'll just quickly touch on this, right? So this is my team. If he's out, I might even just go to Mane, to be honest, because he's got Leicester at home and then Brighton away, I think it is, which is pretty decent. Or I'll move forward my Man City move, or I might go for Fernandes and Rashford double up if they're both fit. That is another option, just for a couple of weeks to then bring Salah back, and even maybe do it for a hit. Get rid of Son, Kane, Salah, bring in Fernandes, De Bruyne, and Watkins, and then worry about Salah later on. So there's lots that I could do, and I hate not being completely certain on these videos. But if Salah's out for 1 week and Rashford's fit and Chilwell's fit, then I'm pretty much doing Watkins and Kevin De Bruyne in, I think. So that's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a like. Hit that subscribe button as well. It really helps me out. And also, don't forget about Surfshark. If you haven't already checked them out, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. There's no risk in giving it a go and seeing what you think. There's a link in the description below to check that out. And it will support this channel. So if you are considering getting a VPN and giving something like that a go, make sure to try out Surfshark. Use that link in the description below and use the code FPL, 84% off and 4 months free. You can't ask for better than that. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think of my transfer plans this week. Is it crazy to be getting rid of Kane and Son when Salah might be missing out? And what are you doing with Salah as well? Let me know in the comments below. And then big shout out to everyone that signed up at patreon.com/letstalkfpl. If you want to check that out, there's also a link in the description below. So everyone that signed up gets on the Patreon Legends wall. So thanks very much for everyone that signed up over there. Slack access and all that stuff that I usually talk about. But I'll leave it there. Give it a like. Hit subscribe, leave me a comment below, check out Surfshark, check out Patreon, and I will catch you again soon.